Apartment buildings and homes across the country and across the capital were leveled to the ground. Hospitals were overwhelmed with the number of injuries, and rescue teams worked for hours digging survivors and bodies out of the rubble of their homes. Then, at 2:30 a.m. on Thursday morning local time, Hezbollah announced that it had fired rockets into northern Israel. Now, it said that it had done that because it considered Israel to have violated the ceasefire, and that these attacks would continue until Israeli-American aggression on Lebanon and its people stopped. So it seems that we are once again back to a state of war here in Lebanon. It has been a devastating and disappointing 24 hours for many people here. In fact, in that initial couple of hours, in that period of confusion, people had already got in their cars and started going back to their homes in the south of the country and in Beirut's southern suburbs. But instead, hundreds more homes have been leveled to the ground, thousands more people are displaced, and hundreds of families will be mourning their dead. That brief moment of hope has turned to more fear and uncertainty, particularly that Israel might take advantage of the cause in Iran to concentrate its firepower here in Lebanon. Or that in fact, because Iran considers the regional agreement to have been violated by Israeli attacks, that Israel risks, or indeed it aims, to blow up the regional deal itself. Either way, the situation for civilians here in Lebanon will be catastrophic.
نه کسی یاد نمده ایران سینا خیلی خساره رسونده با ما کشت و کار مردم خونه شور همه چپه کرده
همون موترها شکلاشو بند شدم نتونستم پس برگشت کردم به خونه من.
The Strait of Hormuz is choking off both energy and fertilizer at the same time. And the danger is in precisely that combination. In the 1970s, the world experienced an oil shock, painful, destabilizing, but a single commodity problem. What we are seeing now is an oil shock and a food system shock running through the same 12-mile passage simultaneously. There is no single policy response. What makes this particularly dangerous is the absence of spare capacity anywhere in the system. Canadian fertilizer plants are already running at full production. There is no stockpile to draw from. Currently, what we see most exposed is corn, and that matters well beyond corn itself. Of all the major staple crops, corn requires the most nitrogen fertilizer to grow. It is in agricultural terms a heavy feeder. And wheat, rice, and rapeseed are also heavily dependent on nitrogen fertilizer, and those are the stable crops that underpin food security for billions of people. Corn is also the primary feed grain for cheese, for chickens, and dairy cattle. So a corn shortfall doesn't stay a corn problem for long. It becomes a meat and dairy problem within a season.
Today we're not just covering a story, we're walking in it. What you see here is a funeral procession of our colleague from Al Jazeera Mubashir who was killed in a drone strike that targeted his vehicle as of yesterday, later in the evening time, on his way to work alongside the coastal road of western Gaza City. What we're looking at here, another journalist that being killed, another voice that being silenced by the Israeli military. Many journalists here say they feel increasingly vulnerable. They believe their work is being suppressed. That documenting reality has become a risk in itself. Being a journalist in Gaza is stepping into uncertainty. There is no clear line between danger and safety. And there's no guarantee while you go out reporting that you're coming back alive. His family and colleagues have been telling us that Muhammad was on his way to work. He was on his way to tell a story, but he became part of the story. Again, sadly, another journalist killed, another voice silenced. And since the beginning of this war, we've seen close to 262 Palestinian journalists killed by the Israeli military, and close to 10 of them from the Al Jazeera network. This is the reality of Palestinian journalists, and despite what's going on, we're seeing journalists still continue their work, continue their reporting, documenting Israeli atrocities across the Gaza Strip. What we're seeing here is his family walks beside him now, colleagues, friends, people who know him just as a journalist and as a person. Today we're burying a colleague, but his stories and the stories he was trying to tell do not end here. They will live on through those who are still here, still reporting, still trying to make the world see. Hani Mahmoud, Al Jazeera, from Deir al-Balah City, Palestine.